William Hutchison, Armenia Columbia Realty for Expats and Salento Columbia Realty. In this video today, I want to touch on a couple of the issues in dealing with real estate here in Armenia, Columbia. Any agents that see this video that are in a governed jurisdiction, you've got it sweet, believe me, because what goes on here is really beyond the imagination. I've touched on it in a couple of videos, but I think it's happened to us so much recently, and by recently I mean in the last couple of weeks. We've had 4 or 5 instances of other agents outright lying, and of course there's no MLS system here with discipline. There's no licensing, there's no registration. Many of the people have no business experience. They don't understand service. They don't understand relationships. They think of today only, and it's gonna come back to catch them at some point. We operate completely different, but it looks like now that we're going to have to get more towards the stream of things and maybe change a couple of our policies as well. But I'll just tell you a couple of stories of what's happened recently. A couple of Sundays ago, I had a client that was interested in a townhouse listed here. The agent lives across the street. So I went over to her, and it was a Sunday afternoon, maybe around 2 o'clock, and said, "I'd like to show the townhouse that you have listed here in the gated community. When can I see it?" And she said, I sold it last week. I came back to my casa and went about my business. But as I was going to sleep that night, I thought to myself, that answer came out of her mouth very quickly. So, as we often do, we went to security, we got the owner's name and phone number and called them. And sure enough, it wasn't sold and it was still for sale. What I attribute this to is the listing agent wants all of the commission. But what they don't understand is they're not representing the seller, they're representing themselves. You could take the example of perhaps my client closing, buying the townhouse, and when the other agent, the seller's agent, cuts us off at the pass, maybe the seller is going to have it for another year. They may have it for 6 months or 8 months or 10 months. Sales here are slow. There's a lot of places that have been listed for 4 or 5 years. Some of those are determined by price. But a lot of them, if the agents are cutting off the buyers because they want the whole commission, it's only 3% here, but they want it all, then they're not acting for the seller. We had another one where we called, this is maybe 10 days ago, and it was listed for sale on a website. And when we called, we were told it was only for rent. Well, we drove to the gated community, talked to the security guard. I have a system where we go in, we get a little bit of information, then I buy the security guard lunch. I give him $20,000, which is next to nothing, $5 US, buys him a really nice lunch, and then any information that we want comes freely. So that's our modus operandi. But the one that we called on was listed for sale, and we were told it was only for rent. Of course, we go, we get the owner's name and their phone number, and also that one was for sale. In fact, it wasn't for rent. They didn't want to rent it at all. They wanted to sell it. So what this points to is the many of the agents here are not acting for the person that they should be acting for. I haven't had it yet on the buyer side because I'm not really sure that it could even happen there. I'd have to give that some more thought. But it certainly is happening with the seller agents. And to put it bluntly, the sellers are getting screwed. And it's just not, these two just aren't the exception. We've had it at least 3 more times in the last month where we're given false information by the other side. In some cases, they don't want to share commissions equally. And my position is There's nothing more important than either side. You have a seller or an owner with a buyer. They're equally important, because if one or the other steps aside, there's no deal. And the agents here don't seem to understand that 50% of something is a lot more than 100% of nothing. I personally, if you get that I'm a little bit hot under the collar about this, I really am. I can't stand it. I don't think it's any way to do business. There's a lot of dishonesty. Uh, to be honest with you, if you think you can get through this buying on your own and not using our services as an example, you're fooling yourself. You're going to pay. I'm fully aware of what's going on, and I have to be careful. And if you're coming here and don't know anything about the culture, don't know anything about how the real estate system works, I mean, I get some questions from clients that are pretty basic in North America and Canada and probably Europe, and they're complicated here. So good luck to you if you think you can do it on your own, because if you use us, you don't pay us a penny. Either the people, the owner, either renting or selling, is who pays our commission. We'll hold your hand. We'll give you advice. You may not like it, but I'm thick-skinned, and everyone has an opinion. They're like noses. Everybody has one. And if you have an opinion different than mine, I can fully accept it. But you're going to get our help, and you're not going to put your money at risk, and you're not going to lose any money. If you go on your own, you've got the wow factor. I haven't talked about that for a long time, but you come here and you see something that's 30% of your hometown, but it should be 26%. And right away you've overpaid. So that's the bottom line. Have a great day. William Hutchison, Armenia Columbia Realty for expats, Salento Columbia Realty. Don't forget to subscribe or like, please. It drives the algorithm. And if you're looking at real estate here, you can't do any better. I guarantee you can't do any better than to contact us. I live in paradise, and you can too.